Hello! Great news! NJW Moto has finally gone over 500 subscribers, and I'd just like to say a big thank you to all my subscribers and to everyone that gives the videos a like and leaves your comments down below. It's really appreciated, and it eventually feels like the channel is actually going somewhere. Absolutely brilliant, and I can't tell you how happy I am. Thanks again to everybody. So today's video is about brake and clutch levers. I've been wanting another set of levers for my R1300 GS for some time, but having recently contacted the BMW dealer and asked for a price of a new set of levers, I was quite shocked when he came back with a figure of, I think it was about £420 for the BMW Option 719 accessory levers. Now, I think that's a tad excessive for a pair of levers, and I'm not sure they give the range of adjustment that I was looking for anyway. Certainly not if they're based on the original levers that are fitted to the R1300 GS. The ones fitted to my bike only give about 13mm of adjustment, and we'll go through that in the video. We'll measure it, and what we'll do is we'll measure the new levers that I'm going to fit on the bike. Now, the new levers have been supplied by Performance Parts. Now, Performance Parts are the distributor for an Austrian engineering company called MG Biketec. Now, if you don't know of MG Biketec, you know that they're a highly regarded engineering company in the motorcycle industry, and they provide some very nice high quality items. So we'll get these levers on the bench and we'll take a look at them, and I'll tell you a little bit more about the technical specifications of them. Now, as we know, there is cheaper alternatives on the market, but there's a reason for that. The materials are probably substandard. They're made of cheese grade aluminium, and I certainly wouldn't trust them on my bike. You don't know where they've made, you don't know what sort of R&D process they've been through. You just don't know anything about the background of the manufacturing, or where the materials are sourced, or whether they've in fact actually been tested. So if you'd rather have a cheap lever from a Far Eastern supplier, that's your business. But I'd rather know that what I fit on my bike has been manufactured and made to at least OE standards or beyond, which is what you're getting with MG Biketec. The MG Biketec Club Sport levers retail at around the £80 each mark, so that's £80 per lever. Now, these levers are TUV approved, they've been fully tested, and they're fit for purpose. They're made of hardened alloy, they're anodized, and the quality and the finish on them is absolutely superb. So when we have a look at them on the bench, you make your mind up. So the UK distributor for MG Biketec, Performance Parts, has been kind enough to offer my viewers a 15% discount for the next few weeks. So if you're considering buying something for your bike from Performance Parts, don't delay, buy today, because the code will probably only last a few weeks. Thank you again, Performance Parts, for that discount code. It's very much appreciated, and I'm sure my viewers will thank you as well. Right then, so let's move on and get the levers on the bench and take a look at them. Okay, let's take a look at the MG Biketec levers. So, on first inspection, as you can see, very nicely machined. They do incorporate a hinge in the middle, so that if you were to knock your bike over or drop it, you could save the blade, you know, the lever blade. And I believe this is available as a spare part as well, so that's really good. Nice etching MG Biketec logo there on the lever, and you can also see when you look underneath, it actually displays the type approval number as well underneath the lever. So you can see there in the engraving in the lever, made in Austria. So MG Biketec has been making CNC parts for motorcycles since 2008, and they're actually OE suppliers to some major manufacturers like Yamaha and KTM. So the chances are, if you've got a KTM and you've got any power parts on your KTM, they could be made by MG Biketec. So looking at the quality, yeah, it's second to none. It's absolutely superb. This lever here is a 6082 grade heat treated billet aluminium, so that means it's formed from a block of aluminium, and it's also heat treated to ensure it meets the right tensile strength for the job it's doing. We also have this micro adjuster on the lever. See if I can move that so you can see it working. And this is a 25 position micro adjuster, which allows, according to the paperwork, around 25 millimeters of end point adjustment on your lever, which, yep, we'll see that when we get them on the bike, and we certainly will measure it, and we'll have a look at it. So the levers are available in a range of colours on the adjuster. The levers, I believe, are all black, but they have a different coloured adjuster to suit your brand of bike, should you wish to do so. They're also available in a short lever as well as a long lever, so you've got a 2-finger operation or a 4-finger operation. The warranty on them is a lifetime warranty on the build and the materials. So if you've got any problems with them whatsoever, contact Performance Parts, or indeed contact MG Biketec, and they'll gladly replace any parts that are defective or worn for the lifetime of you owning the lever. You can't get any fairer than that, can you? So there we have it, guys. That's the MG Biketec levers, distributed by Performance Parts. So let's get them fitted to the BMW R1300 GS and see what they feel like when they're on the bike, and see what the operation's like. But yeah, I can't envisage there being any problems. It looks like, to me, absolute top quality kit. So let's learn a little bit about Performance Parts Limited. First established in 1999, having 25 years experience in the motorcycle industry, supplying high quality equipment to both distributors and motorcycle customers. Performance Parts is proud to serve a dealer network of over 500 establishments and carry in excess of 40,000 high quality components in stock. Now, Performance Parts are fully aware there's cheaper alternatives out there. However, there's usually a very good reason for this, and Performance Parts strongly stand by the following phrase: the quality remains long after the price is forgotten. In terms of quality, most products that Performance Parts sell either equal or exceed original manufacturer's specifications, further reinforcing Performance Parts' commitment to absolute quality. Right, so we'll start off on the clutch side. We'll remove the clutch lever first. The first thing we're going to need is a 14mm spanner. We'll then get the boot that goes around the bottom of the mirror and lift it up out the way. Now, if you've got blind spot protection on your bike, you'll have these little connectors on the mirrors. Just pop that out of its clip. It just holds into the mirror like that, pops out really easy. So that'll allow us to disconnect that and take the mirror off. Pull the little tang out at the bottom and just disconnect it. Simple as that. You get your 14mm spanner on the lock nut, slacken that off, and we'll then remove the mirror. Be careful not to drop your washer. Put your mirror somewhere safe. You don't want to be breaking one of these with blind spot protection in. I dread to think how much they'd cost. So then we're going to take a T50 Torx and we're just going to undo the bar end stop. These have got a bit of Loctite on them, guys, so don't forget when you put it back in, pop a little bit of Loctite on it. Just medium strength blue Loctite will be more than adequate. Take that off, out the way, and we should be able to just lift the hand guard up and place it out the way on top of the tank on that drying towel. This will then give us excellent access to the clutch lever. So the next step, you take an 8mm spanner and a Torx 25 to hold the clutch lever mounting screw. And put that on top just to hold it in place and slacken off the bolt. Push that through, pull it out, and just pop your little lock nut back onto the back of your bolt. We can then proceed to remove the clutch lever from the mounting. Now the clutch lever has a ball, like a little ball socket that goes into the master cylinder, into a nylon mounting, and all you have to do to remove that is just give it a slight pull like that. And as you can see, there you go, that's your ball that sits into the master cylinder, and yeah, that's your standard lever removed, guys. The next bit, we'll go onto the bench and we'll look at how we remove this pivot pin from here. Right, so we've got the genuine BMW lever on the bench. Just a note, this is plastic, this bit. I'm not sure, it looks like it. Anyway, you need to get yourself a 2.5mm Allen key, and the first thing we'll do is we will remove the grub screw from the pivot pin underneath. Now this does have a little bit of Loctite on it, guys, so when you put it back together it will need a little bit more on it. So when you get the pivot pin grub screw out, if you look, you can see carefully there, you can just see that that is one thread past the end. Plus, if you look into the top for lining it back up, you can just about make it out inside there where the grub screw has been biting on it. So all we do with that is we run that out of the pivot pin like that. Put the pivot pin down there a second, and then we will take out the pivot pin. No, sorry, the ball pin we'll put down there, then we'll take out the pivot pin. Right, so building back up, all we're going to do, the pivot pin, give it a wipe down. We're then going to put the BMW lever to one side, and we're going to take our MG Biketec clutch lever. Oh, just another thing guys, you don't need that brass bush in the centre of this lever, you can leave that in place. And it is advisable to leave it in place, because if you don't, all this quadrant mechanism pops out. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take the pivot pin, I'm going to take a little bit of multi-purpose grease, just a little dab, doesn't need much, and I'm just going to pop a bit of that on the pivot pin. We will then pass the pivot pin through the hole in the MG Biketec levers, and then we'll take the pin and screw it in back to roughly where it was in the OE lever. And you can just see there where the grub screw was just biting the threads. That is now absolutely spot on. So next step, what we'll do is we'll take the grub screw, we'll give it a clean, make sure the threads are clean, and we'll pop a little bit of blue medium strength Loctite on the end of that grub screw. Just a dab, it doesn't need much, it's probably a bit too much there to be fair. And then what we'll do is we'll proceed to put the grub screw back into the pivot pin. Give it a nip up, and that's it. That's all back together. So what we'll do next, we'll just put a little bit of multi-purpose grease inside the pinhole, just to make sure it's lubricated. And we'll just put a little bit of multi-purpose grease on the shaft of the ball pin, because there is a rubber boot that slides up that, and it'll just help it to seat back into its position. So there you go guys, that's the MG Biketec clutch lever ready to fit back onto the R1300 GS. Right, let's get the clutch lever back on. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to insert the ball pin back into its socket via the rubber boot. So you push that in. Just one sec, I'll just move my camera back. Once it's in place, you can hear it click when it goes into the ball. There, it's not a very loud click, it's just a dull click, but that is now located into the ball. We can then take our pin and insert the pin all the way through, and then refit the M8 nylock nut. We can then proceed to tighten up the bolt. Just give it a little nip, doesn't have to be too tight. It does move as well guys, it's supposed to do. It's tightened up between two shoulders of the bolt. So we've now got the clutch lever on and working. So now we'll refit the hand guard. Now the lever is fitted to the bike. And all we have to do here is slot that back over the mirror post, take the bob weight that goes on the end, apply a little bit of thread locker to the main bolt, that's enough. We'll then take the bob weight, which has got a locating pin on it, put it into the location where it goes, then offer up the handguard, making sure that it fits inside the groove that it sits into. There's like a little plastic peg inside the handguard that locates into the bar end weight, and then all we'll do is we'll tighten that up. With the Torx 50. I'll check the torque on that later. So we'll now refit the mirror. Putting it back in the position where it was. Make sure that's aligned with where I had it, which I believe that's it from eyesight. And we'll just take the 14mm spanner and we'll nip that up to make it nice and secure. We'll then reconnect the electrical connection for the blind spot protection, and then we'll simply clip that into the mirror just like that, and then we can refit the rubber boot back over the top. And that's it, guys. That's the clutch lever done. Easy peasy. So now we'll repeat the process on the other side for the brake lever. Again, we'll remove the rubber boot from the mirror. So, as per previous, 8mm spanner on the lock nut and a Torx 25. So, on the brake lever, guys, for some reason the retainer is a T10. There does appear to be some tightening pin been put into the head to show that it has been torqued or tightened. So we're just going to remove that now. Again, it has Loctite on it, so you will have to replace the Loctite, as you can see there, the blue Loctite on it. Yeah. That's a screw out. We'll then take our 2.5 Allen key and we'll unscrew that. You can see quite clearly there where the grub screw has caught the thread, so that's easy for it to line back up to the position where we had it before. And that's the lever stripped down. We'll then take the MG Biketec lever. We'll just give this little bushing a clean up, and then apply a small amount of multi-purpose grease to it, as we did with the other, being careful not to get it on the threads. Doesn't need to be on the threads. Then what we'll do is we'll take that and drop it into position through the lever. We'll then take our pin the ball pin, and we'll put that back through into position. As you can see, that distance there is exactly where it was, and I hope the camera's catching it, but you can also see when the shiny part of that bolt lines up, so we know it's exactly back in the same position that we took it out. So what we'll do now, we'll get the torque screw, and I'll just take a small brass brush and clean off the Loctite that's in the thread. So when your stud is nice and clean like that, we will just apply a dab of blue Loctite back onto this locking stud. Final check to make sure that that's back in the exact same position, and it is. We'll put that in and we'll give it a nip to ensure that it's nice and tight. And there we have the ball pin fitted. What we'll do now is we'll get a bit more multi-purpose grease and we'll coat this shaft like we did with the other one on the clutch, and this will just aid the rubber gaiter in going back into position when you squeeze the lever, and it will sit into that recess there. So there you go. That's the MG Biketec brake lever, prepared and ready for refitting to the bike. So, as per the clutch lever, feed the ball pin into the gaiter, little rubber gaiter, and then click it in, and then get you securing your pivot screw. Drop that in place. Again, I've put a new locking nut on the bottom. You don't have to do this, guys, but I just feel better about myself using a new stainless steel locking screw. And we get the 8mm spanner, and the torque's 25. And tighten that up, and as you can see, it still moves. So we'll just get a bit of get the magic rag, give it all a nice wipe down, rid of any excess grease. And there we have the MG Biketec brake lever fitted. Tightening torque on these is 40 Newton meters. That's that tight, and while I think about it, I'll do the opposite side. So that's the bar end weights torqued up to spec. So all that's left to do now is refit the mirror. So, on the MG Biketec lever, on full extent, we've got 85mm. And we've gone to 60mm. So from 85 to 60 millimeters, you're getting approximately 25 mil of adjustment. 89 millimeters. We'll then adjust it in. These only have 3 positions, so we'll check the gap now. And that comes out at 76 millimeters. So that means on the standard BMW levers, on all 3 positions, position 1 and 2, so there's 3 positions anyway, there's standard, 1 and 2. You're getting 13 millimeters of adjustment on your standard BMW levers. So, first impressions of the MG Biketec hand levers, and I have to say, definitely a big improvement over the standard BMW levers. Very comfortable. I've got the adjustment on these absolutely pin perfect now, and also you can adjust them while you're riding with a gloved hand, so it's a win-win. Absolutely brilliant. They feel comfortable in the hand, a nice broad blade on them, gives you plenty of confidence, and the big confidence comes from the fact that the manufacturer has these levers TUV approved, so you know that they meet a minimum of an OE standard or better. So if you're considering a set of levers for your bike, any bike, look up MG Biketec, and don't forget the exclusive NJW MOTO 15% discount code. It won't be there long, it'll probably only last about 2 weeks, so don't delay, buy today. And yeah, I can't fault them, absolutely brilliant, nice set of levers, and yeah, they've certainly got my seal of approval. So, thanks for joining me, thanks for watching the video, thanks for everybody that's liked, and thanks for everybody that's subscribed. Please keep your comments coming down below, and yeah, I can't say no more. Absolutely over the moon that we've now got over 500 subscribers, and I'm going to go get a cup of tea at Squire's Coffee Bar. So that's about it for this one, guys. Bye for now.